Are you using transfer procedures to teach children with autism? If you're not, you definitely want to tune in for this short video blog where I am going to be talking about a paper that was published by myself and Dr. Rick Cabina, my BCBA mentor, in 2005 called Using Transfer Procedures to Teach Tacts to a Child with Autism. Hi, I'm Dr. Mary Barbera, autism mom, board-certified behavior analyst, online course creator, and best-selling author of The Verbal Behavior Approach. Each week, I provide you with some of my ideas about turning autism around. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you should do that now. So a few weeks ago on a podcast episode, I interviewed Dr. Rick Cabina, who was my BCBA mentor. We briefly talked about our study that we published together, but I thought I would jump on here and talk about this study because it really could help you with your children or clients with autism. So if you want to listen to the podcast interview, that is episode number 14. You can go to marybarbera.com/14. Or you can check out all my podcasts on my website at marybarbera.com/podcast. So years ago, I think I was a new BCBA or studying to become a BCBA when I first learned about transfer procedures. Up until that point, what was happening was I had my son Lucas, and he was 4 or 5. I was using first a low-voice approach, then a verbal behavior approach, but I still didn't know what transfer procedures were. And this is like maybe 2001. So he would say open cabinet. I would prompt him. I would prompt him to say open cabinet. He would echo open cabinet. I would prompt him. I would pull out a pretzel. I'd say pretzel. He'd say pretzel, and I would give it to him. All that was doing was I was leaving things at the prompt level, and he was echoing me, but he didn't have any spontaneous language or not enough. And so what I started doing then, once I found out about transfer procedures, is I would pull out the pretzel. I'd say pretzel. He would echo pretzel. And then I would say, what do you want? And he would say pretzel. Now that's an example of an echoic prompt to a man. It's still prompted, but we were able to then push out the prompts and the transfers, maybe pull in a couple distractors and get more spontaneous language. It's not just used for manding either. It's used for all different operants. And when Lucas went to, and this is in my book in chapter 7, I believe, Lucas went to a private ABA school and he didn't know anybody's name. So when the therapist would come, I believe in my book I say it was Amber, and she would say, bye, Lucas. She would come to the house, but she worked with him primarily at school. She would say, bye, Lucas, and he'd say, bye, Haley, who was his teacher. So what I determined, because at that point I was a behavior analyst, was that he didn't know the tacts of the people. That the only time he practiced greetings was during circle time. So I asked the school, could you send home 10 pictures of kids and staff, and I will teach him, I will drill him, and I will teach him these names, and then he'll go back and he'll generalize it to greetings because that was another skill we had taught him. So that's what happened. He came home, I drilled him, and the way I drilled him was using transfer procedures. He went back, he generalized to greetings, and then when Amber would come, he'd say, hi, Lucas. He'd say, hi, Amber. When she'd say, bye, Lucas, he'd say, bye, Amber. And he did that across the 10 people I taught him. So I called up Rick Cabina, my mentor, and I said, you know what? This worked out so well. Like, he learned this greetings are in so many IEP goals, like maybe we need to publish something like this. And so Rick said, well, we can't publish anything like that. You don't have, like, what did you even do? What drilling did you do? And basically what it turned out to be was a receptive to tact transfer and an echoic to tact transfer, a combination. Touch Haley, or well, he already had Haley, but touch Johnny. he'd touch Johnny, he would echo when he'd touch, and then I'd pull it up and I'd say, "Who is it?" And he'd say, "Johnny." And I drilled him for like 5 minutes using a combination of these transfer procedures. And so Rick said, well, we can't publish that, but we can set up a study with unknown tacts, and we can set up a multiple design study, which I had just graduated from my ABA certification from Penn State. And I was just like, okay, I learned about multiple baseline alternating treatment designs, but until you actually do a study like that and have somebody like Dr. Kavina help me set it up, I really learned a lot. And what we learned with Lucas is that he learned very well with the procedure. And it was one of the first articles that used humans and transfer procedures. Up until that point, most of the transfer procedure articles and studies were using animals, mostly pigeons. So with the transfer procedure multiple baseline, we have Lucas learning with set 1, set 2, and set 3. And we went on to do other studies with transfer procedures. I did through the Verbal Behavior Project. They were not published. I did present on another study using transfer procedures. And I know several dissertations have come out of this original article too. In 2005, it was published. So we'll link that in the description below. But one of the things that I really want to tell you is that if you are not using transfer procedures, you are probably leaving things at a prompted level and then saying the child or client is prompt dependent. And my approach uses transfer procedures everywhere throughout the day, in intensive teaching, in the natural environment, across operants, to basically fade prompts, use prompts that will work, and fade prompts systematically using transfer procedures. So it's a big part of what I do. It's a big part of my online courses. Errorless teaching, error correction, using the operants that the child has their strongest points in, and pulling up the other operants. So Lucas was always better with receptive abilities than tacting abilities. So we used the touch, banana, what is it? Banana. Banana obviously wasn't a hard target for him. But we can use transfer procedures across the board. So if you want to learn more, definitely download the article. And if you really want to learn more about my approach and how you might be able to use transfer procedures with your clients or children, I would encourage you to sign up for my free online workshop at marybarbera.com/workshop. And I would really encourage you at the end of the workshop to sign up for my online course and community, because that is really the way to dive in deep, learn more about how you can make things better for your child or your clients. I teach both parents and professionals. That's always been my approach. My book can be read by a layperson. It's also used for graduate level coursework. So I am big on teach professionals and parents. Teach professionals how to bring things down to a level that everybody can understand, to make common sense decisions, to look at the forest, to consider family values. And I believe we have one of the strongest online autism communities out there through my online course and community. And it's just so supportive, so positive, helping each child reach their fullest potential. So I hope I've incentivized you to start using transfer procedures. You can start as early as today by reading the article and learning more. And you can also, for a free online workshop, check out marybarbera.com/workshop. And I'll see you right here next week.